how important is winning a first impression?
Very.
Welcome everybody to the Mac Show. I'm Anita Kay.
I'm Body Roll MelodicMic.
And I'd like to talk, and let's talk today about how do you make a long-lasting impression, and how do you get that winning first impression?
So important because everybody, you know what, when they first meet you and you first introduce yourself, that's what is ingrained in their brain.
Yeah, and do you get a second chance or a third chance after that? Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't.
Majority of the time.
Let's talk about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I have a technique, and it's called, or I call it, the infinite image inquiry. And it's about 5 key things we should all keep in mind to make that winning first impression.
Please do tell.
I think number 1 is the signal touch. Now, don't be afraid to extend your hand, which is the obvious, a very firm handshake, especially in the professional world, and we all know that. But sometimes sometimes giving a signal that you want to initiate a conversation or you want to connect is also equally beneficial.
Yes.
So a signal or a touch, hi, how are you? Or something along that line. So think about it, but a signal could be with your eyes, it could be some kind of gesture, but a signal or a touch.
Just make sure it's not creepy.
Yeah. You have to be sensitive because
Yes.
there are boundaries, and you'll know when you have to exercise them, depending on where you are and what environment and who you're around.
Right.
So be sensitive to that, because that's also going to be really impactful on that winning that first impression.
You
don't want to be offensive.
You don't want to be offensive.
You don't want to be offensive.
Take it from my experience real quick as a guy that was very eager to really meet people, especially ladies, and like the sense of touch, being confident and stuff like that. There's times where when they give you signs that they don't want, leave it alone.
Exactly.
Don't push your luck. Things like that. Just saying.
Yes. I also think compliments can really take you far.
Yes.
They should be authentic. Find something that you can compliment about the individual or about the environment or what you're listening to, whatever space that you're sharing with the individual. Maybe you can find an area to give some type of compliment. It's definitely an opening, communication right thereafter.
Ooh, that girl. Hey. Okay, don't do that.
Maybe not that. And number 3, another good point is talk about your background. How did you get to where you are today? Hey, I heard that you've got a background in XYZ. I'd love to hear about it. I was thinking about going into that field myself. I know a friend who's in that.
Right.
So talking about your background, be a key listener and really let others talk about where they've come from or where they are today.
Because you know what? When people tell stories, there's a lot of times that you can relate to it, or vice versa. They can relate to you.
Yes.
And that just sparks that conversation that you'll need.
It does.
Yeah.
Number 4, maybe share a fact about friend or family. Hey, you look like my brother.
Okay, well, that just... well, I don't know about that. But
By the way, has anyone told you that you look like so-and-so?
Right.
Or, hey, I see your dog there. Wow, he's a gorgeous lab. By the way, I've got one at home myself. So something about a fact-sharing, connecting intro about friend or family, or maybe some commonality that you might have there.
Right.
Or what part of Mexico are you from? You look like you're part from this region. You look like whatever it may be.
Right.
So that would be number 4. And then number 5, which I think is really fun, what about talking about something you might have in common as far as a hobby or a sports or an activity, or how was the game last night? What'd you think about the World Series? Things like that. I mean, those are probably, with a lot of people, especially youngsters, one of the more popular, opening techniques. What do you think?
They're like tweeting each other, one or the other.
That's true,
Something
too.
like that. But yeah, finding a commonality, like sports or just hobbies in general, or things that you like to do.
Music.
Yeah, activities.
Yeah, definitely.
That's always a common factor and a great way to just really open people up to having conversation and dialogue.
And all 5 key areas, you don't have to really go into a lot of detail or really exhibit a lot of time, but it's just a thought that translates into an action that can really benefit making a new connection or leaving a really good long-lasting impression where it might benefit you maybe later on.
You always want to have the person, remember this, think about the conversation you just had with them. Yes. So when they leave and they part, there's always going to be something that they take with them, like,
absolutely,
that person was really nice or really dope or really, you know how it is, just like they always leave something in your brain to make them think about it. Yeah.
And I think we can relate right here on the Mac Show.
Yes.
When we first had our first episode, we were dying to see, boy, are we making some impact, or what's our first image, or what's your first impression? So sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's not, but it's really educational.
Right, we're putting it out there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. What do you think about those?
Great.
Anything
great
you want
skills.
to add?
Yeah. First impression, right? Do you get it? I want to answer this one. Do you get a second or third? Sometimes.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do. And if you feel...
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. If you feel as though your first impression wasn't the greatest, really think about what you could have changed and what you could add. You can add.
Very good point.
And then make sure you step up your game the next time.
Especially if you get feedback.
Right.
If you're going on a job interview or someone's willing to give you feedback, it's really, really worthwhile to really know what that is so you can work on it.
Right.
So you can work on it. Definitely.
No, great tips. Great tips.
Yeah, but I think a first impression is a long-lasting impression.
Yeah. I want to hear stories, though.
Yeah,
I want to hear
that.
For you out there, please tell us your first impression of a person that left a lasting impression in your mind. What did they do? What did they look like? How did they dress?
What did they say?
What did they say? What
did they do
like?
any of... absolutely. Did they exhibit any of the 5 key techniques that we talked about?
Yes.
You know, is there something about was there a compliment? Was there a like-mindedness about the environment that you were both in? Mm-hmm. So really interesting to know, but really good things to keep in mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
There's
well,
tips for you.
I hope that helps.
So until next time.
I'm Anita K.
I'm MelodicMic.
Infinite thanks for watching the Mac Show, everybody. We'll see you next time.